We left Svalbard 2 days ago now, and we had a good exit out of Eastfjord and then a very, very slow couple of hours, probably about 12 to 20 hours or so. Once we made it offshore, it's very light winds, but we knew it was going to be light because we're trying to get south in front of a pretty big low pressure system that's blowing off Russia. So we kind of bobbed around most of yesterday, going very, very slow, a little bit of motor sailing, and now we're enjoying this beautiful close reach and like 5 to 6 knots of wind. We're averaging maybe 3.5, 4 knots south in the right direction because we're trying to get to a point about equidistant between Svalbard, Jan Mayen, and Norway. And then the wind's going to shift and fill in from the north. Sailing directly from Svalbard to Iceland is something that most boats don't actually do. Most boats go back via Norway because it's a 2-day sail to Bear Island and then a 2-day sail to Norway. And then you coastal hop down to Lofoten and then it's only a 4-day sail over to Iceland. But we've been keeping a really good eye on the weather and it looks like we're going to have good enough weather that we can do a straight shot from Svalbard to Iceland, which means potentially stopping in Jan Mayen, which would be awesome. It's a beautiful island, and it's one that's been on our list for a long time. It's just out in the middle of the Greenland Sea, and it's a very remote island. I think there might be like one person there managing the weather station, but it's exactly en route to Iceland. So we're gonna try to continue sailing that course, and if the wind is favorable and if it allows us to make a stop in Jan Mayen, we will, because it's a really cool place. But it's very weather dependent, so we're continually downloading weather forecasts and keeping an eye on things. And you can only really stop there if the conditions are perfect and if we're one of the lucky ones to get there at the right time with the right weather window on the right boat and the right conditions. We're definitely going to take the opportunity because it's not a place that is very accessible very often. We're not going very fast, but it's very comfortable, and our dates are pretty boring. We're sleeping for 6 hours, and then when we're on watch, it's just eating some food, watching some movies, keeping an eye out for dolphins because they show up almost every day, and it's pretty much it. It's pretty chill. Unfortunately, because it's pretty overcast and we're sailing pretty slow, our batteries are down about 58%, but we only have another 24 to 36 more hours to go before the wind fills in, and then we'll have 2 or 3 days of really good regen, so we'll probably be able to charge them back up. And yeah, it's been a pretty good start to theoretically the second longest sail we've ever done. If we don't stop in Jan Mayen, the sail's going to be over 1,000 miles, and it's in the Greenland Sea, which is a pretty notoriously awful place to sail. So if we could squeak by with 6 to 10 days of good weather, it'd be a bit of a miracle. Fingers crossed that we don't end up getting too messed up by that system because it's still 4 to 5 days away, and weather forecasts up here are really only good for like 2 days tops, maybe 3 days, but you can get surprised pretty quickly out here.
Alright, well, it is just around 1 a.m. and it is so calm out here. It's absolutely magnificent. It's crazy to think that we're in the middle of the Greenland Sea and the ocean can be this calm. And at the same time, it could also be a very dangerous place. But it is still very much overcast. You can see a glow out on the horizon as if there's still some sort of sunrise, which is kind of crazy because it's still daylight 24/7. We're slowly moving. There's not much to see out here except the vast, vast ocean around us. Something spectacular though, although the autopilot is very loud right now because it doesn't really know what to do because we're going so slow that it's trying to adjust to the wind, which we're just having a hard time with. So
Well, you know it's calm when the birds can swim faster than the sailboat. I think they're conspiring to take over the ship. I believe this is the leading edge of our wind shift we were waiting for, because it is coming out of the north, and that's the direction it was supposed to come out of. So hopefully we'll start sailing again soon.
Everyone. Alright, I guess now would be a pretty good time to do a bit of an update. We had a bit of a slow start at the beginning of this passage, as you guys could tell, but now the wind is back and it's blowing 18 to 20 knots, occasionally gusting to 25, and we are cruising. Ooh, yeah, the wind is definitely back. 22 knot gust. Oh, by the way, this loud noise, if you hear that loud noise, is the regen. So from time to time, the prop kind of spins a little faster just to analyze how much power we can put in, but yeah. That low pressure system that we were keeping an eye out for that was brewing in the north has definitely calmed down and is getting pushed further east, which means that the rest of this passage should be about the same as it is now. Maybe a little bit stronger winds, but nothing too crazy, so it's all good. Yeah, only it's downwind, which means it's a bit rolly. Ben is asleep right now, and I'm just here watching movies, eating snacks, staying warm, because that's the reality of sailing in a long passage with only 2 people. We do 6-hour watches, so for 6 hours one of us is asleep and the other one of us is awake keeping watch. But out here in the middle of the Greenland Sea, there's not much for ocean traffic, and there is no ice this time of year, so there's not really a point staying outside in the cockpit because it's wet, it's cold, it's 4 degrees. So we're just inside watching movies. We can keep an eye out on the chart plotter. We can keep an eye out on our course. We can adjust the autopilot, and from here we pop our heads out every 5 to 10 minutes and just make sure that whatever we don't see on radar, we can see outside. I guess if you think about it, the furthest apart that Dan and I have ever been are when we are on an offshore multi-day passage, because usually we're together 24/7, and when we're on a passage we're very rarely awake at the same time. It's kind of lonely, I guess, which is funny because a lot of people always ask us, do we get in each other's nerves on a long passage? How do we cope with each other when we're so close together for, in the middle of the ocean for long periods of times? But the reality is we actually miss each other on the long passages because we're never together. Oh, hi. Am I talking too loud? We probably should put a first reef in the ring if you want to take your time and wake up for that. Okay. And that's it for me. Bye.
Better. No need to be uncomfortable sailing at 7 knots, and we could be comfortably sailing at 7 knots. The wind's picked up enough now that we just put the first reef in the main and trim the pole and the headsail a little bit so that we're a little bit more comfortable. In about 20 knots of wind, you can hear the regen screaming away. Making us power, baby. We've gone up like 4% since I went to bed. not bad. Hopefully the wind doesn't pick up too much more. We should be on this point of sail pretty much until we get to Jan Mayen, so we should be basically beam reaching or running just a little bit for the next like 48 hours. The waves will probably build up a little bit more because that's what waves do over time.
You going back to bed?
Yeah, I'm going back to bed. That's all. I'll wake up, reef, and go back to bed. No, it's only like halfway through my watch, but if we're putting a reef in, it's better that both of us are awake. Sail trims and stuff we can do on our own, but it's much better to have both of us awake for a reef, so my brief cold intermission will be rewarded with a nice warm sleeping bag. So we've been experimenting with different camera gear and different ways of capturing just how much our boat moves while we're sailing offshore. And we've recently come across these GoPro 9s with max lens mods. When we were in Tromsø, we got a couple of those. And the cool thing is they have horizon leveling, which means it's kind of like on a gimbal. And gimbals are cool, but out here offshore, we can't really use them because they're too cumbersome and they're too heavy and they take up too much space. Oh, Kika's awake. But these ones kind of act like a gimbal, so you get a really good idea of just how much the boat's actually moving.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
It's sunny.
Oh my gosh, this is beautiful outside. I've been sleeping for the past like 8 hours.
We're just doing rockabye baby.
Oh goodness gracious, yeah.
So yeah, this is this definitely gives a better portrayal, I think, of just how much the boat actually moves. I hope you guys don't get seasick, because now with these sort of like automatically electronically gimbaled, the horizon stays level and the boat moves as much as the boat moves. So yeah, you'll probably get a much better feeling for just how much it's moving out here. It's moving quite a bit. It's a lot. You got some mocha latte on your nose. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, the swells are definitely bigger, but they're more consistent now, so we're not... They start to stack up. It's when the wind fills in, the waves stay short and choppy, and then they all sort of like group together and start getting bigger and more swelly. But we're sort of at the peak of the weather we're going to receive. It's like 20 gusting to 26 or 27. We're a little bit after the beam running downwind. The waves are probably like 1 to 2 meters. Every once in a while we'll get like maybe a 3-meter wave. They're more like swells than waves, really. I mean, some waves. Of them are breaking, but they're short little things. I mean, we're at like maybe a 4 to 6 second period. Oh, this one is like as tall as our solar panels. Yeah, it's about 3. Yeah, that one. But you would think that the boat is just want us to cuddle more. It's just, like, yeah, right? It's like motion of the ocean. But it's kind of amazing how what used to absolutely would have been like a terrifying sail for us, like these were the same conditions that we got knocked down in sailing off the coast of Colombia. We just didn't have the experience and the boat wasn't nearly as prepared for this kind of sailing. Yeah. But now we've just kind of gotten used to it. Like 25 gusting to 30 is just sort of become our standard up here, and cold, and just sort of hanging out here because out there is really wet and gross. Yeah. And we try our best to stay dry and warm and well rested as much as possible. So it's just autopilot or wind vane, underpowered, but we're still doing 6.5, 7 knots. This is an ab workout to
It really is.
We're pretty much all alone out here, so that's always interesting.
Lonely, I am so lonely.
All I have are seagulls
nobody.
around me.
I'm on my own. Except
With
for
me.
you. Yeah, exactly. Man.
Sunny, what's that bright ball of brightness over there? Yes.
I miss you.
I know, I haven't seen you in like a week.
Oh my god. I think that's probably the most challenging part of a long passage for us, is the fact that
You get lonely?
we don't hang out often. Maybe we hang out for an hour here and there together before we switch.
It's mostly in passing. It's like a 15-minute cuddle where it's like, when she's waking up, I'll come lay down on top of her for like the 10 or 15 minutes before somebody needs to look outside. And then she'll wake up and start looking outside. And that's every 6 hours. So yeah, we don't get a whole lot of time together.
I've been having this mad headache for the past couple of hours. So I'm drinking coffee. I thought this sail was going to be our opportunity to quit coffee, but
Terrible idea.
terrible idea. Why would we want a headache for 10 days? That sounds like a stupid thing to do. That's like an ab workout. God damn. It looks so
Chill on camera.
chill on
I know.
camera.
Camera doesn't do it any justice at all.
Ugh. Wow, look at that sunshine. We haven't seen this much sun in a while. Just like breathing it all in. Although the sunshine is a bit deceiving because this is some pretty epic stuff. Not as crazy as our North Atlantic crossing, but it's a close second just because of the fact that we are 500 miles away from land in all directions, which makes it a little bit more epic. I mean, it's not that dramatic if you think about it. But you know what? Just for the fun of it, I'm going to add right here, I'm going to edit it together. Same footage, but I'm going to edit it together to make it look like it's the most epic, dangerous thing we've ever sailed into. Action.
In the middle of the Greenland Sea, one couple in one tiny boat, waves bigger than their solar panels. Don't be fooled by the sun. Those waves are fully capable of crashing into their cockpit. Ta ta ta! Oh, the drama!
Yep. So ultimately, it's all about the perspective. It's all about the story that the editor chooses to tell. And we can tell a story to make this look dramatic, but the reality is we choose not to focus on that. We choose to focus on the fact that our boat is well prepared. At this point, we're more and more comfortable with the sea state. We trust our boat, we trust our skills, and that's kind of the perspective that we choose to show you. I'm just gonna try my best to portray this as real as I can. And that's what drives my edits. And I really hope that the camera doesn't do, all the cameras do it justice. It is very rocky. Very, very rocky. That's the reality.
Are you excited for food?
Yes, I am so excited for pasta. It's a good time to celebrate. We are less than 24 hours from Jan Mayen, which is one of the most remote islands in the world. So I think it's a good reason to celebrate with some good old-fashioned food.
Some good old fashioned.
Because we haven't eaten food.
Back in the day,
yeah,
we used to eat food.
We haven't eaten a meal since we left Longyearbyen, which was what, 6 days ago? Yeah, just
6
about.
days ago. Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't particularly feel hungry either. I just feel like we should probably eat dinner.
It's rare that we're both awake at the same time. I'm both hungry at the same time.
Yeah. Well, usually on the passage like this, we're not really hungry either. We just snack a lot. We have, you know, all different type of dry food that we just eat and fruits and stuff. So, but I think it's good that we're gonna be eating a proper meal.
It helps.
And then we'll switch. I'll take. I can see my breath.
Yeah, I'm cooking some pasta. We haven't had a hot meal, I think, since we left, like 6 days ago. We've kind of just been snacking, and it's time for some real food. So I'm just making some shrimp tortellini, but I think we're both going to appreciate that. The problem with these longer 6-hour watches is that we both snack quite a bit, and so when one of us wakes up, the other one's pretty tired and not really in the mood to like eat a full meal. But yeah, Kika got a pretty good night's sleep last night, and I got a pretty good sleep now.
Last night.
Last night. I know, we keep saying night, I don't know why. Tortellinis.
Some kind of low-life grifter. How do we know she didn't push her? Oi! Already told you. I didn't want to be.
So as we continue to sail further south, we will be sailing back across the Arctic Circle, which means no more midnight sun. So it's been a pretty cloudy, overcast sort of sail so far, but midnight sun is out in full glory, and it might be one of the last ones we get to see. It's only maybe 5 or 6 degrees above the horizon, so another couple 100 miles and it'll just be a orange glow on the horizon. It won't be a full-blown sun. It's been pretty cool hanging out up here this far north, but I think it's time to go further south. Hello, sleepyhead.
Hey. What time is it?
Midnight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Can't you tell by all the sunshine?
It's so sunny. Ugh.
How's the aubergine?
It's warm. I was almost overheating in there.
You keep sleeping for a while?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I will do that. Ugh. Right.
Check this out, right here, behind me is Jan Mayen. I'm not sure if I'll ever truly be able to describe what it's like to spend a week sailing across a big blue sea and then arrive and see land for the first time in a while, especially such a cool place like Jan Mayen. So it's a really special feeling, and it's one of the reasons why we're out here doing this, and one of the reasons why we keep doing it. It's pretty cool to leave land one place and just use only the wind and point the boat in a direction and navigate to new land. It kind of makes sense why all the explorers before us have been doing this and why man has been exploring for so long. It's a really cool feeling. I mean, I know people have been here before. We're not the first ones anymore, but it's new to us, and it's pretty cool that we do this, just the two of us on our little boat.
It's funny because for a while now, I could see a little bit of land in the distance, but then as we got closer, I realized that I could only see the bottom half. And now that the sun is out and the clouds have parted a little bit, you can see the entire height of the island. It is huge. The craziest thing is there's still snow on top of the mountain. It looks like fresh snow as well.
Jan Mayen Radio, Jan Mayen Radio. This is sailing vessel Uma. Uma, do you copy? I wonder if somebody's awake at midnight. We're supposed to radio and ask for permission to anchor because the whole area is a protected marine park. It's also late at night. It's 11 o'clock at night, so maybe nobody's awake. Well, I guess we'll try them again in a few hours when we get closer.
So beautiful.
It's really pretty.
We're only 5 miles away from the coastline, and we're going to be sailing along the coast a little bit for, I think, about 10 miles until we make it to our anchorage. But I'm really excited because this is going to be such an epic place and such a unique opportunity. And they say that this place is only sunny 6 days out of the year, and I guess today is one of these days because it is beautiful, it is sunny, there's a little bit of clouds, but you can see the entire thing, which is amazing. And oh my goodness, there are so many birds around. This is insane. Well guys, welcome to Jan Mayen. guys, that is it for this episode. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I hope that you guys will come back next week to see what we do next week.
If we make it to land.
So, until then, cheers.